What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since 2003 and starting to get cautiously optimistic about this Pistons team. The Detroit Pistons beat the Los Angeles Lakers last night by a score of 117 to 114. In this video, I want to go through, highlight some of the key performances, and just kind of talk about the game in general because it was a pretty good one. So, the first player that I do want to touch on is going to be Cade Cunningham. He finished the game with 20 points, 5 boards, and 10 assists. He actually had a pretty down game, which is encouraging for a lot of reasons because the Pistons were still able to win, and he was still able to put up stats in what seemed to be one of his worst games in quite some time. Cade was 9 of 25 from the field, which is way more inefficient than he has been in quite some time. He was 0 of 5 from the three-point line, and he still found a way to get 20 points on the board to go along with 10 assists. So, a couple different ways you can look at that, but the way I'm going to choose to look at it is I think it's pretty encouraging that Cade played what felt like his worst game in a month, and he still had 20 and 10, and the Pistons still found a way to win. So, the second player that I do want to touch on is going to be Holland. Holland only played 13 minutes in this game, but it did not feel like that because he left his fingerprints all over this game. In those 13 minutes, he was 5 of 7 from the field to finish with 10 points. He had 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal, and his impact just felt so much bigger than 13 minutes of play and 10 points on the board. I was actually kind of shocked to realize that he only played 13 minutes in this game because it really felt like he contributed in a big way. We were plus 14 in the minutes Holland played, and those bench minutes in total just felt really, really good. Ausar Thompson also played really, really well. He also did not play as many minutes as it felt like because our bench unit played really, really great, all things considered. And that's why the third player that we do need to touch on is going to be Malik Beasley. Man, there isn't enough words for me to explain how thankful I am that Malik Beasley is on this Pistons team. Last night, he finished with 21 points, 8 of 15 from the floor, 5 of 10 from 3 against his former team, the Los Angeles Lakers, and we needed every bit of that. We had 11 threes as a team, and Malik Beasley had 5 of those 11. He's really been our most consistent shooter that we have had on this Pistons team since like Chauncey Billups, man. I really don't know because it's been a long, long time since there has been somebody on this team as consistent as a shooter as Malik Beasley has been so far this season. Malik Beasley has been the number one offseason addition in my eyes, and that's no shade to our 2 vets that are starting, Tobias Harris and Tim Hardaway Jr., but Malik Beasley has just been so crucial to so many of the wins that we have been able to have this season, and last night was no different. Malik Beasley, man, just shout out to him 100 times over because he has been so, so helpful for this Pistons team. So, to kind of speak on the game in entirety and give my thoughts on that and the West Coast trip and everything going forward, this was kind of a weird game. And the reason why it felt like a little bit of a weird game was just because the Pistons really didn't seem to play all that well offensively. And they still found a way to get 117 points on the board. And I think a lot of it came through their defense because the half-court offense did not look as good as it typically does, with Cade being pretty inefficient at 9 of 25. Tobias never really found his rhythm. He was 3 of 10. But we were able to force a lot of turnovers from the Lakers, and a lot of those turnovers led to easy transition, fast break points, and that was really the biggest difference maker of the game. I was able to watch JJ Redick, head coach of the Lakers press conference, and that's really what he was just harping about was the amount of turnovers that the Lakers had. But so many of those turnovers felt like they were a product of good Pistons defense and not just the Lakers being lackadaisical. So many of those turnovers came from Paul Reed blitzing screens, or Jaden Ivey or Holland or Ausar jumping a passing lane and just getting after it and going the other way and putting 2 easy points on the board. So really just want to shout out the Pistons defense because I felt like they did a really good job of disrupting the Lakers' offensive game plan and not only getting stops, but turning it into easy points on the other end on a night where we could really use those because the half-court offense was not that impressive, all things considered. But the other thing I really kind of want to touch on is just the fact that it was another game where it felt like everybody contributed. Even Simone was 4 of 4 for 13 points. Paul Reed came off the bench, replacing Stu as he's still out, and played a really good game. Despite not scoring a single point, Paul Reed had himself a night with 5 assists, 3 boards, 3 steals, 2 blocks, plus 20 on the plus minus. Kind of crazy how he was able to impact the game the way that he did without scoring the ball even a single time. So just shout out to the whole team, man. It's really, really encouraging that the Pistons were able to bounce back from that bad Jazz loss, to go out on the road, beat a Kevin Durant-led team on the road, turn around, go beat a LeBron James and Anthony Davis-led team on the road, and now you get to go see the Kings, which they're no slouch of a team, but they're definitely the team that I am least scared of out of all the teams that we have to play on this West Coast trip. I thought that there was a real world where if the Pistons failed to win that game against the Jazz that we played just a few short nights ago, that loss would roll into a West Coast trip during the holidays where the Pistons would start to spiral out of control, and then I'd blink and we'd be 11-22. Instead, the exact opposite has happened. The Pistons took that L on the chin against the Jazz. They've went on the road, and they have executed in both of these games against the Suns and Lakers and have been able to walk away with 2 of the biggest wins of the season, pushing us back to a record that I feel pretty good about at 13-17. I know 13-17 is not a record that maybe would be considered to be great without context, but considering the fact that the Pistons won 14 games last year, and we have an opportunity to beat that win total before the new year, and considering the fact that we are in the Eastern Conference where the Pistons could potentially see themselves getting a 6 seed if they can just get back to 500, or the Pistons could see themselves getting a play-in berth with just like 31 or 32 wins, I'm really, really happy with how things are going, all things considered. Throughout the holiday break, I'll definitely make some more videos talking about where I'm at with the team and rotation and all that type of stuff. But for now, I just want to give them their praise because the last game against the Lakers last night, I felt like was a great performance. The game before that against the Suns on the road, another great performance. And I'm really just proud of these dudes and the way that they've been able to go out on a road trip against tough teams out west during the holidays and get things done, because this was a part of the schedule that I had been scared about all year. You can go back and watch my video from before the season when the schedule got released. The first thing that I noticed was, man, that's a pretty tough West Coast trip during the holidays. And right now, we started it off 2-0 on the road and taking care of business. So let me know what you guys think, and we'll catch up soon.